Ubisoft Support defends their insane EULA, quoting, "Been like that for more than 10 years. I said, "Cool. So you've been scummy for over a decade? Thanks for the confirmation." Of course, they turned off replies. As usual, they're not sorry for what it says. They're sorry they got caught. This is an official post from Ubisoft Support. We've seen recent reports about Ubisoft end user license agreement, EULA, focusing on a clause related to what happens when a license ends. Thanks for raising this issue. Hey, we appreciate you. As noted in some articles, this clause is not new. M dash. It has been part of our EULA for more than 10 years. It was originally designed as a formal legal provision to clarify that once a license ends, the user no longer has rights to access or use the product, which, you know what? The way this is carefully worded would almost seem like this is just one big misunderstanding, that you guys just don't understand what we were actually trying to do. When the EULA specifically states you must destroy the copy that you purchased if we do not continue it going with the live service or something along those lines, which is insane. There's no way that should have ever been written on anything ever. The cockiness and just so full of yourself, lawyers, to write that in a EULA, thinking that no one will ever read through it, no one will ever bring it up. It's not a big deal, to give them ultimate power and ultimate control. Absolutely crazy. And they don't say what they said in it, of course, because that would expose them for being awful, awful people. Let's be honest, or an awful, awful company, to be clear. They said, "We understand that the language in this clause may sound unusually strong or out of step with how players experience and value their games, and are reviewing this clause as part of our ongoing efforts to ensure our policies reflect players' expectations and the evolving nature of our industry." Oh, isn't that so sweet of Ubisoft? How dare anybody? This is such a nice company. How dare anyone say anything bad about them? It's weird that they don't quote or show a screenshot of what their EULA is. It's weird that they just say, "Hey, there's just some strong language. You may not understand what we're trying to do with it, but let's be clear. We're going to look into this and we're going to make sure that it gets better for you." Notice they turned off replies. You know why? The number one reason they turned off replies? Because the number one upvoted comment guaranteed would be what the EULA said, with a red circle around the words. And they don't want you to see that. They don't want you to see what I covered in that previous video, talking about how awful they were in their EULA. And this is from Ubisoft Support, by the way, not Ubisoft's actual channel, which is strange in its own right. But then to shut off replies, let's see what people are saying about this. Quote tweets, post engagements. Christopher Powell: "I have a lot of hope that Stop Killing Games and the EU will destroy every EULA like yours. It's complete BS. You sell games like products and hide behind these agreements to F over your customers. It needs to end. StopKillingGames.com. If you're an EU citizen, sign it." Oh, love it. Here we go. By the way, what I say people would write if they allowed comments. "Once a license ends, the user no longer has rights to access or use the product." This doesn't talk about destroying it, which is another part of the EULA that's there. F you, Ubisoft. I say, once a license ends, the user has the right to yo-ho, pirate in that case, which I agree. This is not going over well with people at all. Hasn't been said enough. F Ubisoft. Is that Mr. Rogers? Damn, even Mr. Rogers is double birding Ubisoft. Buying isn't owning. Piracy isn't stealing. By the way, shout out to Notch. No. F you. You want us to destroy what we bought and take away our right to use/play it. It's now like you'd refund us. I think they mean it's not like you'd refund us. We purchased it. We own it. If purchase is not owning, then piracy is not stealing. This guy said, I've been blocked from every Ubisoft page only because I exposed a scam of selling empty Blu-rays require internet connection for install at a full price. Being honest with people is the best policy. These companies are effing around and finding out when you're not honest with your customers and you're trying to be disingenuous, you're turning off replies. You are clearly trying to ignore the problem, put a fire out. This is the worst possible route you can take. The better option would have been to update the EULA first, take full ownership of it, and say, we no longer say that. That was something that was put in by a previous administration here. We apologize to you guys for that and the misunderstanding on our part for what we did. We will not be doing that moving forward, and we have made it right. Instead, they don't show you what they said. They don't change anything, and they just say, oh, yeah, we're going to look into it. We'll figure out what we can do with that. This comes to us from That Park Place, friend of the channel, Marvin Montanaro, who says, Ubisoft defends EULA mandating players destroy physical game copies by noting it's existed for over a decade. There's nothing new here, guys. It's always been a thing, but what's the problem here? In the ever-evolving landscape of digital gaming, a long-standing clause in the EULA has recently sparked widespread outrage among gamers and industry observers. The provision, which requires users, here we go, this is the meat of it, to destroy all physical copies, like literally take your disc and snap it in half, which is insane, upon the termination of its license, has been thrust into the spotlight amid growing concerns over game preservation and consumer rights. While Ubisoft maintains that the language is not new and dates back over a decade, which I would argue is way worse, by the way. They're like, no, it's not a new thing. We've been fucking you forever. Critics argue it exemplifies an anti-consumer approach that undermines the value of purchased games. The controversy gained traction when Pirate Nation highlighted the clause in an X post on July 8th, 2025. So yeah, shout out to Pirate Nation for this one. Ubisoft wants gamers to destroy all copies of a game once it goes offline. The company has updated its EULA, which now states that those who own the product must destroy all copies at all costs. You and Ubisoft or its licensors may terminate this EULA at any time for any reason. This EULA will terminate automatically. This message will self-destruct in 3 seconds if you fail to comply with any of the terms and conditions in this EULA. Upon termination for any reason, you must immediately uninstall the product and destroy all copies of the product in your possession. Which, again, what? What Kool-Aid you got to be drinking? I was going to say smoking. You got to be smoking Kool-Aid to write that, even as a lawyer. Hey, I know you bought that, but it's still ours, and you need to destroy it if we tell you to. In what court would that hold up, by the way? That's insane narcissism from a company. Ubisoft wants gamers to destroy all copies, and then quoted the EULA, which I just read there. The post also referenced another section. Ubisoft may modify the product for any reason without specific reason at any time and its entire discretion, in particular for technical reasons such as updates, which, by the way, this part, totally fair. I don't have an issue with that at all. Like, yeah, a game company's going to update the game and make it work better and be better. Yeah, that's kind of understood. That's how updates work. Totally get it. We're on board on this EULA. Yeah, please update the game and fix it if there's problems. What the hell? Pirate Nation emphasized that Ubisoft believes consumers are responsible for checking the EULA for changes, placing the onus on them to detect unreasonable updates without company notification. The post quickly amassed over 4,000 likes and hundreds of replies, with many expressing disbelief and anger. Guys, I'm telling you, when I first saw this post from Pirate Nation, because that's where I got it from initially as well, I was like, I need to research this. This motivated me to deep dive. I'm like, there's no way this is true. That's impossible. There's no way a EULA would say destroy physical copies of your game if we tell you to. What? That's insane. That's insane. Ubisoft responded promptly via its official support account on the same day. In a statement, Ubisoft acknowledged the recent reports focusing on the clause related to license termination, which they don't actually screenshot what people are upset about. This is everything I already read. Company admitted language may sound unusually strong or out of step with how players experience the value of the games, and announced reviewing the clause as part of ongoing efforts to align policies with player expectations and industry evolution. Notably, comments were turned off, which drew further criticism for stifling discussion. Why would they turn comments off? That's like the ultimate. If you are going to post something to social media, you want to post for a conversation. This is not like, what do you call it? Nazi Germany, where it's just like we tell you the rule of law and you just listen and do. Like, no. Especially in the game industry, it is an ongoing conversation. Stop turning off replies in the game industry. That is like, you already took the L before you even did anything if you do that. Community reactions were swift and, God, this word, vehement. Did I get it right this time? YouTube personality, Smash AT. Hey, I honestly, full disclosure, I did not read through this article. I was like, I want to talk about this article tonight. I had no idea I was even in it. This is that's awesome. In a post on July 14th, lambasted Ubisoft's defense. Ubisoft Support defends their insane EULA. Been like that for more than 10 years. And this is the thing that I read earlier. But I didn't even know I was in this. That's very cool. The sentiment echoed across platforms, with users like Chris TV Live pointing out similar clauses in other companies' EULAs, such as Sega's questioning how widespread the practice is. Wait, Sega question it? Oh, no. Chris questioned. Sega has a similar clause in their EULA, as well as also states you must destroy the product. Okay, so what this tells me is it might not have been Ubisoft that did it. It may have originated from somewhere else. And this was somebody copying someone else's homework. And they were just like, ooh, we're just going to use that generic EULA and make sure we copy, replace, change names from Sega to Ubisoft, or vice versa, or another company that isn't named here. Another user, doesn't play, highlighted the wording's implications. Ubisoft has,
on average, we spend 93%.
There's an ad there. Ubisoft has completely lost all plots imaginable, forcing people to destroy all copies of a product, legally bought copies. Wording is interesting, though. So it is indeed a product, not just a license. And it is in our possession, as in we own it, not just temporary access. Isn't that fascinating? The wording is almost implying that you own it. And they're trying to say you don't. Forcing people to destroy copies of a product, legal copies? The uproar ties into broader discussions on game preservation, particularly the Stop Killing Games initiative, which recently surpassed 1 million signatures in Europe to push for regulations preventing publishers from rendering games unplayable post-support. Critics argue Ubisoft's clause directly contradicts such efforts, as it mandates destruction even for single-player games or physical copies when servers go offline or support ends. No refunds or appeals are provided. While the clause isn't unique, appearing in EULAs from Rockstar, Sega, and others, it certainly fuels the movement against killing games. This isn't Ubisoft's first brush with ownership debates, and it goes on to talking about all this other stuff that we covered previously. But suffice it to say that shout out to Marvin, a banger article as usual. And thank you for the Smash JT shout out. I was not expecting that. That caught me off guard. But yeah, this is something that is absolutely hysterical, that Ubisoft got caught with their pants down. It's always Ubisoft, by the way. It's always Ubisoft. And sure, there are other companies that have similar EULAs, but be better than that. That's the problem. It's like, yeah, Sega has it too. Everyone hates Ubisoft right now. They keep taking L after L after L. So, of course, if Ubisoft is falling victim to something that everyone else is doing, the highlight focus magnifying glass is going to be on Ubisoft first. Everyone else needs to fix this shit too, but Ubisoft, holy crap, be better. Be better than this. That's all we're asking. And I'll leave that there.